All right, let's get into this. Let's get into this Michigan story. Every day it's something. Every day it is something. And look, it is the now the folks in the legislation have gotten involved in this as well. And the Big Ten is allegedly going to hand down some sort of punishment to head coach Jim Harbaugh. What that punishment is, we do not know. A lot of people are rumored to say that this is going to be a 2-game punishment. And 11 Michigan lawmakers sent a letter to the Big Ten urging the commissioner, Tony Petitti, to act prudently and refrain from taking any premature measures against one of our state universities, including their athletic program, football team, or coaching staff. In this letter from the Michigan House of Representatives, dear Mr. Petitti, as members of the Michigan legislature, we write to you today to urge you to act prudently and refrain from taking any premature measures against one of our state universities, including their athletic program, football team, and coaching staff. These individuals are our constituents. We feel the need to ensure they are treated fairly. In the legislature, we pass laws to ensure that every citizen and organization in Michigan is guaranteed their rights to due process under the law. These principles of justice should also be followed by the Big Ten Conference. Allegations of misconduct against conference members from the state of Michigan should be taken seriously, but accusations, especially those made in the interest by interested parties, must be met with thoughtful and thorough investigations based on fairness for all of those involved. We all know the passion surrounding college athletics, not only in our state, but around the country. With social media speculation and public rumors running wild, it is important that any investigation and determination is based on carefully considered facts. The University of Michigan and its football program, like all of our college athletic programs, is entitled to an impartial and deliberate process that takes into account all evidence, allows for opportunities for the accused to refute allegations, and comes to a conclusion based on the whole truth. It is essential that the Big Ten Conference not take any disciplinary action against the University of Michigan until the final result of its own, or more appropriately, the NCAA investigation are officially announced. Should those results demonstrate misconduct, an appropriate punishment should be imposed, and in the meantime, the players and coaches should be free to continue to participate in the game that they love without being punished with premature or unsubstantiated sanctions. Should you, as the commissioner of the Big Ten, rush to judgment or engage in any ill-considered actions, we will vigorously support our public universities in their efforts to compel fairness and due process. And, that's why we pay these people. That's why we pay them right there. We got that letter out the minute Petitti's coming to us, I believe, from Major League Baseball. He's a TV network guy with an Ivy League degree. He doesn't know diddly bleep about football, and you're coming from MLB, so take a look at your World Series rankings, the most important games you can have all year, and then go compare that to Michigan, Ohio State, and tell me if you're ready for that, ready to chew on this. Let me know. Let me know if you think that because you went to a sport where people forget that they're there, drink beer, just use it as an escape in a work party. You think because you were involved in that you can run the Big Ten Conference because you're a TV guy. I got news for you. The constituents that are the fan bases of these universities are absolute lunatics. And I feel like you are very ill prepared for this job. What you need to do is just defer to the NCAA. We're like, oh, the NCAA is doing their investigation. Wouldn't worry about it. And put all this to bed. But you and our good friends over at ESPN have made this a 3-week story. Is it the end of the world? We'll find out. We'll find out. Is it one rogue employee running a corrupted vacuum cleaning service? And I went on the defense of him yesterday. We might have to change our tune today based upon his reviews on Yelp. Yes. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. This idea that I saw floated yesterday that was basically, if you have staff members at games that are picking signs, right? You got staff members that are picking signs. And this guy's really good at it. Would you take his word? If he's really good at it and he's figured it out, like, what do you got? What do you think? What do you see? Like, if he's in charge of it? Do you know how he comes up with his information? Oh, I don't know. Dan Wetzel from Yahoo Sports, might have to get this guy on. This is great. Everyone's guilty or no one is. I love that headline because it's an incredible article. Because Ryan Day yesterday is answering questions saying, we've looked, our compliance department looked, we have nothing to do with this. Okay. All right. So if Ohio State, Rutgers, and Purdue are engaged in the same activity as Michigan and Connor Stallions and his web of spies, if you watch Game of Thrones, Michigan presented the Big Ten with evidence that someone on Rutgers' football staff provided Michigan's defensive signals to Purdue in advance of the Boilermaker Wolverine 2022 Big Ten title game. Meanwhile, someone at Ohio State handed over UM's offensive signals. So the Big Ten championship game, Purdue had everything and then lost 43-22. In Michigan's case, the advanced scouts are the iPhone stallions. That's what they are. In Purdue's case, the advanced scouts are actual coaching staffs with other Big Ten teams that are colluding to try to stop Michigan in their reign of current terror. So I really appreciated Dan Wetzel for coming out and writing a piece that really took all of it and brought it all to the forefront, brought it all to the table. I really like that piece. That's something I can get behind. That's why I, retweeted it and will continue to retweet it, and everybody should read it. Having coaches say we all have buddies that send us stolen signs this way, but we don't steal signs that way is not an answer that administrators or commissioners should accept. One is white-collar crime and one is a smash and grab. That's great. That is great. And look, people are going to be mad. I love Dan Wetzel now. I'm glad that somebody's writing a piece that isn't convenient. I'm looking for the pushback here, and I'm always looking for the pushback. Because I want to know. Because I try to use both sides of my brain, and I'd like to know. I'd like to know, why are you saying this? Why are you doing this? What is the root cause behind this problem? Right? Let's get really down into it. We got into a pretty hostile verbal altercation in the group chat where some things were exchanged. And so I started asking questions. Didn't involve me, but I'll start asking questions. Because I want to know, where does all of this come from inside you? You don't just wake up that angry. It's impossible. Like, what's wrong? What's really wrong? What's the root of the problem? Right? And so that's why when I see the current conflict in the Middle East, when I hear that, Zelensky might be taking some of those U.S. tax dollars off the top, some of his cabinet members might be getting some money off the top, and is Ukraine actually buying oil from Russia? Well, that with our money, that's flabbergasting. It's something I need to read more into, so don't jump off the rails. But it's something I heard yesterday that I'm looking forward to looking into, because I'm going to ask questions. That's what I want to do. What is the root cause of this problem? What's actually going on? Surface level is one thing, right? And so I like the pushback. I like people that ask questions. If you want to go back to 2020, I had all kinds of questions. I still have questions, right? And a lot of those questions have answers that are out there that people will just automatically dismiss you if you even bring it up. And it's like, well, the guy who's the talking head on television every day is a highly paid U.S. government employee? That's crazy. What was he doing over there? What were they concocting? What are they working on? And every so often when they give you a statistic like this is going to 100% work, this is only going to work 98%, this has got a 92% effectiveness rate, and that rate keeps dropping. It goes under 50%. Elon Musk put a tweet out about it with all the headlines from all the different news outlets that were on the witch hunt, much like ESPN was. And why is ESPN like that, right? What is causing them to do that, considering you have the Michigan-Ohio State game? And you're going to put Stephen A. up there on TV, and Paul Feinbaum is going to go off the rails. And I find it very interesting that we have one of our most competitive years in college football. Top to bottom. We talked about this, and we have at length with some time with John Wagner. And throughout the course of the football season, I think it would be difficult for anybody to disagree with the fact that who would be, if we asked 5 different people, who the number one team in the country is, there is an opportunity, depending on where they are located at, whether they are in the middle of the country, on the eastern seaboard, down south, out west, you could come up with different teams, right? You could say, we could have some person that says Michigan's the number one team in the nation. I personally don't believe that they're the best team in the country. You could have some people that say Georgia. I don't think Georgia's playing the best, but in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. I say that often here on this program. Some might say Ohio State. They've got 2 top 10 wins. Notre Dame has fallen off of a cliff. Whatever. The brand's better than the football is what it is. They beat Penn State. Let's see what Penn State has to bring to the table at number 10 right now in the country. And Michigan, we'll see them. We'll decide some things. Florida State really struggled against Pitt. Still not sure if their quarterback's 100% healthy, but they're still 9-0. Washington, Michael Penix has had a couple of bad weeks, but outside of that has been an absolute stud. Texas has beaten Alabama. Texas lost to Oklahoma. Oklahoma has lost twice. Oregon lost to Washington. Like, there's a lot of good. This is a great year to have a 12-team playoff. So you have Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. You got 3 from the Big Ten in the top 10. You got Texas in there out of the Big 12. You got Oregon and Washington out of the Pac-12. Florida State out of the ACC. And a reminder, Ole Miss, Alabama, Georgia out of the SEC. Texas will go to the SEC next year. Here's a question I have for you. Do you find it odd that we have so many teams that would be highly entertaining for a 12-team playoff? Do you find it odd at all that NIL has gone legal and now all of a sudden the SEC might have taken a little step back to the rest of the country? Do you find it odd that the conference that dominated without a sliver of a doubt, might have some competition with the rest of the country? Well, why is that? Why do we have so much parity here in college football this year? That's pretty interesting, don't you think? Could it be, perhaps, right? Let's ask a question. Let's push back on it a little bit. Oh, it's a great year for parity, but why? Why is this happening? Explain to me how, explain to me why. Sure, no one can be dominant forever. It's impossible. The Romans fell, right? If the Romans fall, Alabama will fall. Like, it will happen. But could it be now that paying players is legal? Which brought me to an internet spat yesterday. And not even an internet spat, just a good exchange. I think this guy's a Buckeye fan. I don't know. I just enjoy the dialogue. This wasn't anything, no ill will here or anything of that nature. But I did see that we were going back and forth, and there seems to be this idea that there's like a hierarchy, like a ranking of what are the worst violations. What are the worst violations in college sports? That's what it is. I don't care about Ohio State and Tattoo Gate with Jim Tressel. I think that guys that want to trade in their cleats and get a free tattoo, I don't see any problem with that. That's me. I live in 2023, right? And as a pretty mild, moderate American in Ohio, abortion just went legal. They said, how could you be a conservative and support abortion? Because I use both sides of my brain and take a really conservative approach to it. If you don't want to have it, I don't want to pay for it. If you look at it that way, and you don't have to deal with it, wipe your hands on it. It's not your chair, not your problem, right? Just be done. No sense in arguing about it. They want to legalize pot in Ohio, which is great if you live in Monroe County and you get off at La Pleasance Road because you couldn't get on La Pleasance Road. Thing was an absolute disaster. I'm trying to figure out how the marijuana stores on La Pleasance Road, how in the hell that business is booming. There's people there all day, every day. Nobody have any jobs. Where are you people coming from? Are you coming from Ohio? Because then you can go back to Ohio, because now it's going to be legal there. So that should help the traffic pattern there for those that live in Bulls Harbor and want to use La Pleasance for whatever the reason may be. And if you think that, if you want to record signs or steal signs, however you may come of it, whether you're sitting in a game in person, you're recording it off of TV, you're recording it in person, and you're sharing that information with other coaches or whatever you're doing to disseminate that information, do you think that is as serious of a crime, because this isn't real crime, this is fake crime, as paying players? Jesus Christ. And totally on the same tiers. Paying players and recording signals are not mutually exclusive and not even close to the same things on the cheating scale, if that's what you're trying to compare here. Every major program was paying kids, not recording signals. Actually, you got to invert that. Everybody's stealing signals. Not everybody was paying kids. So there's a difference. And so to that, I was like, look, you can't prove or disprove any of these claims. I think that paying players to come to your university is exponentially worse than your band of brothers out there stealing signs. And that's what I said. NIL went legal, and all of a sudden we have some parity across the sport, and it's not SEC dominant. Coincidence? I think not. And he said, all fan bias aside, do you think paying college athletes before NIL is worse than recording signals? I personally do, yes. Yes, because it gives you if you think recording signals is advantageous to you, right? And it is. There will be an advantage there. There you go. I said it. Oh, the boogeyman's here. You will have an up. You'll have an edge. If you think that for whatever reason, that paying top-tier athletes to come to your school, like at the end of the day, you can know all the signals. You got to have the dogs to execute. Where do you get those guys? Yeah, pay for them. So to me, paying someone to go to your university on this imaginary scale of what's worse, right? Because I've seen a lot of that too. We didn't get due process with the tunnel. You got video of somebody smacking somebody in the head with a helmet. Like, how much due process do you need? But go ahead. It worked out really well for all the players involved and even the head coach. There was a really great tweet I sent to Ryan yesterday, too. I couldn't retweet it, but oh, my God, I wanted to. Mel Tucker was more concerned with Brenda Tracy than he was with beating Michigan, and that's disgusting is what the guy said. I'm paraphrasing here. Ben, is Ryan over there?
Yeah, he is.
All right, let's get him on the horn. I feel bad. I missed the idea, like the fact that he was on. Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
Just, scaling walls again. The Blue Wall Media, fully erect.
Did you have to say erect? You leave Mel Tucker out of this.
Hey, listen.
I gotcha.
By default. MSU might win the Big Ten by default because our coach was using his phone for other things. All right?
Oh, that's great.
Except MSU because our coach was using his phone for other things. Like, hey, great season. Thanks, Mel. You did it. You did it, Mel.
I love it, man.
And since you were asking questions, I have questions now. Now
yes.
that, there's a big Kool-Aid man-sized hole in this blue wall now that I'm on the air. Your ESPN has, changed their tune pretty quickly. Do you know what school the guy who runs Fox Sports, do you know what school he went to?
The guy who runs Fox Sports?
Yeah. You know where all your supporters are?
No.
Oh, he went to U of M.
What's his name?
I don't remember. I'll have to look it up on Twitter. But the guy runs, the director of content and stuff. He went to U of M.
Mark Silverman?
No, I'll look it up. I'll look it up real quick in a minute.
Okay.
But there's someone very prominent over at Fox Sports that went to U of M. So it's interesting that all the people that have been supporting U of M are coming from Fox Sports, and all your defectors are at ESPN. It's
Wetzel's at Yahoo.
Well, Wetzel's gone back and forth. He doesn't care. He's just here for chaos.
So, by the way, so for the guy I just mentioned, what the hell was his name? Mark Silverman. Before joining Fox Sports, the 29-year media executive served as the president of BTN, a joint venture between Fox Sports and the Big Ten Conference. Oversaw all aspects of the network since its inception. So that might be worth throwing in there. Also began his career at the Walt Disney Company, where he had a 13-year tenure working with ABC and stuff like that.
Will he go to Walt Disney if Paul Feinbaum's not fired, by the way?
Silverman holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in economics from Cal and a Master's of Business Administration from U of M.
That guy I'm looking for. There was a certain person. I'll look up his name.
Oh, he's a grad, though. I just learned that. He is a grad. His Master's is from Michigan. His Bachelor's is from Cal. Okay. He's well-educated, intelligent man.
So, yeah, there's the guy, So there's conflict of interest as well. You brought up ESPN's conflict of interest. Hey, there's Fox Sports conflict of interest. Funny how that works out. Also, all the Michigan fans now that are slam dunking on Tony Petitti, how dare you do this to us? What has he done?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing yet.
Everyone's slamming him, but everything else has been rumored. And if you follow the last 3 weeks, we've gone everywhere from, oh, nothing has happened, nothing's going to happen, to Michigan's going to get the death penalty and never allowed to play sports ever again. And there's been writers, and again, it's been Michigan writers, it's been national writers, it's been this. They've been wrong a lot about everything. And again, not their fault. They're, because with stories breaking every 6 hours on what's happening, I understand if some sources get things wrong. It's okay. I'm not throwing shade at them. But everyone's trying to now put down Tony Petitti. He hasn't said anything. So how can you throw the guy, want to throw him away from the conference when he hasn't done anything to the school?
I think that the reason people are angry is we're now in like week 3 of this story, and it's like, just you come out with a statement like, look, we're looking into it. We partner with the NCAA. We'll let you know how the investigation goes, and just be done with it. All you have to do is address it. But don't cower in the shadows. And now all of a sudden, because after 2 weeks of public pressure, now all of a sudden there's going to be rumors floating around about, we're going to send him a letter. We're going to send him a notification of discipline. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, what if it just comes down to like, hey, you know what? We don't have enough yet. We'll take action in the offseason. Or maybe they say, hey, we've seen enough to take disciplinary action for this season. Granted, it's not going to be a playoff ban because, A, that's dumb, and the college football playoff has come out 2 weeks in a row and said, we don't care about this.
So if they don't care about this, why do we care about this?
We care because we're bored.
Bing bong!
Because other people are working. When Days of Our Lives come on, we're on Twitter. This is Days of Our Lives.
Wow. You know what? That's really, family friends always used to say stuff to my mom about, did you see this? Did you see that? And it was all like daytime television. And of course my mom didn't see it. We don't have a television in the store. How is she going to see it? You know what I mean? Like she's in that grocery store
during work hours. You can't flip on the TV.
Yeah, that's a really good point. This is Days of Our Lives. And with sports being the ultimate reality show. I mean, it's like somebody had came out before the NBA season started and talked about how Adrian Wojnarowski and Shams Charania are like the storytellers, and they push the narrative and they drop the news that manipulates the league and this, that, and the third. And it's like, you know what? This is one big soap opera. And we've gotten so bent and caught up in, we get into all of this with actual non-games. We get into all of this with just the storylines that surround. It's like the NBA has become more of a storyline sport than an actual sport. Give me the games and the highlights. I don't care what James Harden had for breakfast or that he landed in New York. Let me see what actually happened. Stop making up a story about
what
it.
James Harden had for breakfast because you don't want to put on 30 pounds and then ask for a trade out of your team. So maybe you should care just a little what James Harden has for breakfast. So he's not looking like the nutty professor out there.
Yeah, it's really a whirlwind, and I think that you hit the nail right on the head. It's because we are bored. I will ask you this, and this was put to me. My friend Eric just texted me, and so I'll pose this question to you. Let's say that we have equal defenses, right? Doesn't matter what school you want to go to. We're both playing, I don't know, for fun's sake. We both get Ohio State's defense, right? I'm going to give you Zach Wilson. I get Tom Brady. Everybody knows everybody's signals. Who wins the football game?
Zach Wilson in this made-up scenario. Because it's made up, nothing matters.
That's the point, is that we know.
And it was college, so it wasn't Zach Wilson. Great highlights in college.
Oh, really good at BYU.
Brady highlight. Yeah, the only Tom Brady highlight I remember is that I think he got decked in the Water Boy.
Haters gonna hate, said Taylor Swift.
So there we go. Ruined your scenario.
Yeah. Anybody? Yeah.
Like,
you guys all get
from Stallion Vacuums.
some Stallion. This segment's brought to you by Stallion Vacuum Cleaning Service and Repair.